Even though he had some early roles in films like The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus and Never Let Me Go, most people started taking notice of Andrew Garfield when he was in The Social Network, alongside another famous Jew we've done an episode on, Jesse Eisenberg. The actor has gone on to have an incredibly successful career since then, most notably playing the role of Peter Parker in Spider-Man, which is one of the most coveted screen roles that any actor could dream of having. He's also managed to navigate the waters of critical acclaim and has had 2 Best Actor Academy Award nominations, one for a movie he was just in last year, so not too shabby. Now, what you may not know too about Andrew Garfield is that his father's side of the family is Jewish, and the last name was not always Garfield. What was it? Well, stick around and find out. I'm Yona Paley, and I believe genealogy is fun. Today, we're going to be looking at records from England and Poland in order to trace this line back as far as we can. He was born 1983 in Los Angeles, California to Richard Stewart Garfield and Linda Hillman. Now, Richard was also born in LA, but the family moved to England when Andrew was just 3 years old. And this is because Richard's parents, Samuel Garfield and Doris Savage, hailed from London. Samuel actually shows up in the 1911 England census, living with his parents, but not under the last name Garfield. That's going to come later, but they actually were living under his original birth surname, which was Garfinkel. Now, Garfinkel is a really common Jewish last name, referring to a precious stone called a carbuncle, and we've talked about another famous Jew on this show, Art Garfunkel, Garfinkel. They're all pretty much the same name, and most of the people who have them aren't related, given how common the name is. It pops up all over Eastern Europe. From the 1911 census and a bunch of other documents, we can learn that Samuel's father was named Ludwig Harry Garfinkel, and that he came from Kielce, Poland. But if you look through all the records for Kielce, you'll see that there are a ton of Garfinkels living there. There are hundreds of records. And so I wanted to narrow down who this family was. And because this is a famous Jews series, it would not be complete without looking at one of the greatest Jewish genealogical tools, the gravestone. If we look at Ludwig Harry's gravestone, we can see that his Yiddish name was Leib, son of Shmuel Aaron. And now this is really useful because if we go back to the Kielce records, we can find that there indeed was a Shmuel Aaron Garfinkel. He was married to a woman named Paya Perlstein, and the couple had a bunch of children in Kielce, but it actually doesn't end there because, as it turns out, before they lived in Kielce, they lived in the nearby city of Stopnica. And from finding the marriage certificate of Shmuel Aaron and Paya, we can actually go one further generation back on this line, which is to Shmuel Aaron's parents, Abram Itzik Garfinkel and Perla Doba Zelkovitz. Abram, Itzik, and Pearl were born in the 1830s, and they had at least 6 children in Stopnica and Kielce. Now, unfortunately, the records for these towns end pretty early. They don't go much further back than around the 1870s. So there is a death record for somebody named Abram Itzhak, who I thought this could have been the document. But if you go to the Polish Archives website, unfortunately, those records are not available online. You have to get them from the actual archive. And I even went to the archives website. The records were not on there. But at some point in the future, it's possible that if this is the correct death document, you could get back maybe one more generation if it lists his parents on that record. Nonetheless, now we know the name of Andrew Garfield's third great-grandparents. So the next time you're watching one of his films, you can sit back and say, hey, that guy's family comes from Poland, and I even know what town they come from. If you have any questions or comments about this line, let me know down below, and also be sure to follow me on social media. I've included links to my Instagram and my Twitter, so be sure to follow me on that. As always, I'm looking forward to bringing you more videos as well as tips and tricks that you can use in your own genealogy research. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.